immediately see, look at the question, you must immediately know that this is a comparison skill. They're asking you to compare two sources. So when you compare two sources, you can do the difference and then you can do the similarity. How to do? We always start our answer whenever you want to do, let's say you're doing difference. Okay. We always start our answer with basis. The basis of comparison. This is very important. Okay. Without this line, without the basis, you will not do very well. You must always tell the teacher when you start your answer, what are you comparing about? Both sources are different in showing something. Example, how the Japanese treated the locals. Okay, I repeat, basis of comparison is like your main starting sentence that talks about what are you comparing about. So you're saying that they are different and in terms of something. So for example, you can say they are both different in terms of how the Japanese treated the locals. That's a good start. Never skip this part. Look at how I am writing my answer. You all follow that way also. Both sources are different in showing something. Or both sources are different or both sources are different in their views about something. All right. Extremely important, the basis. You must never forget the basis. Okay. A common mistake students do is that they forget the basis. They straight away tell me what is source A saying, then what is source B saying, then hope to pass. Cannot pass. Without the basis of comparison, you cannot pass this question. Once you have given me the basis, okay, then you break down the two sources. Source A shows that the Japanese treated the locals very badly. Okay, then give evidence. This is evident in source A, which says, then give evidence, then you explain. Okay, this is a basic inference evidence explanation. Okay, once you've done source A, once you have cleared source A, you give me the inference, evidence, and explanation. Then after that, you give me source B, inference, evidence, explanation. Because you're comparing, right? You can say, however, source B shows that the Japanese treated the locals very well. Okay, this is evident in source B, which shows that something, and then explain. This is the format you use for difference. Don't go and change my format. Okay, unless if your school teaches you a different way, which your teacher accepts, then go ahead. But if you're not sure how to write the answer, then follow my format. Okay, for difference. This is how you do difference. Okay, you can refer to it in my guide, which is on Shobi. I'll show you where to get it later. All right, clear, students? So, again, I repeat. Let me repeat again for difference. Okay, you want to do difference? Okay, we always start with the basis. Basis of comparison first. Once you've given me a good basis, then you can do the source A, inference, evidence, and explanation. Then source B, inference, evidence, explanation. Okay, which is I give a sample, lines here for you to make use of. Okay, that's how you do difference. Then similarity, okay, slightly a different way of doing similarity. For similarity, you must give me the basis again. Okay, basis of comparison. Look at how I give the basis. Both sources are similar as they are about something. Then after very simple, just give evidence from source A, then give evidence from source B. Then explain one time. This shows that both sources agree or both sources are similar about, explain the evidence, right? What are they saying? Okay, so for Sec 2, you just need to know these two only. All right, for Sec 2 level, just need to know these two. Compare the difference and compare the similarity. Does that make sense, boys and girls? Make sense or not? All right, basis. Okay, if you want to make it simple to understand, for similarity, make sure you have the B, basis, evidence, explanation. Okay, basis, evidence, explanation. Very important. This is for similarity. Whereas for difference, you have the basis, then you must do the inference, evidence, explanation. Then inference, evidence, explanation. Okay, so let's try to break this down. Now, it's quite normal and it's quite common for schools to give you a background information for your exams, for your class tests. All right, it's very normal and very common. Right, and then they'll give you a statement on top here. How supportive were the locals to the Japanese? This line is very important. This line it's called the main. This is the main issue. Okay. Normally, sometimes they have this line, sometimes they don't but most of the time they have. Okay. If the line is missing, you can find it here also. You're not supposed to answer this question. You don't go and answer this question. This is like just telling you that the sources are about all the sources you're going to read in this case study, right? They're asking you whether the locals were they happy with the Japanese or not. How supportive were the locals to the Japanese? That means were the locals happy with the Japanese? Right? Were they happy or were they not happy? So when you read the sources, right? When you read the sources, I want you to keep this green line in your mind. How supportive were the locals? If you look at source A, were they supportive? Did they like the Japanese in source A? How about source B? Did they like the Japanese in source A? In source B? All right? Ask yourself this question. It's important that you keep this in your mind. You keep the green line. You keep this green sentence, right? And then as you read source A and B, ask yourself, in this source, are the Japanese supported or not by the locals? Did the locals like the Japanese or not? Okay? So if I were to ask you right now, source A, before I go source A, let's look at the background information. Okay? Any words that y'all don't know? What's Nipponization? Nippon means what? Japan, right? Nipponization means what? Who knows? Nipponization and getting the people of Sionan to adopt Nippon Seishin or the Japanese spirit was one of the biggest priorities of the Japanese administration. Wow, the first line already got so many big words. Come ask me. What words you all don't know? Ask me now on Zoom chat. Never ask me, I assume you know everything. Then I will ask you all to tell me what is the meaning.
Oh wait, what does the last part, the adopting Nippon, that was the last word?
Louder, Joshua.
What does the last word mean? Adopting Nippon Seishin.
So Nippon Seishin, right? Down here. You see it here, right? You see it here. See it here. Okay. Nippon Seishin means what? Anybody knows? Nippon Seishin means it's like Nippon means what? Nippon means referring to Japan. Okay. Seishin means Seishin would mean the values, right? Values or traditions, right? Customs, right? They want the people of Singapore to accept the Japanese customs and traditions, right? So that's the meaning of Nippon Seishin, Japanese customs and traditions, right? And then the word Nipponization means what? Down here, Nipponization means what? This one, this word here means what? Nipponization, Nipponization equals what? Right? To make Singapore follow Japanese practices, their values, right? Tradition, same lah, same as adopting Nippon Seishin. All right. Sionan means what? You all remember what is Sionan? Sionan means Singapore, right? This is Japanese name for Singapore, right? Sionan is Singapore. So Nipponization and getting the people of Singapore to adopt, Japanese values or the Japanese spirit was one of the biggest priorities of the Japanese administration. Administration means what? Japanese government in Singapore, right? The government. Okay. Government. Right? The ultimate goal was to erase all traces of Western influence and substitute it with Japanese influence. Adopting Japanese culture, such as bowing, accepting physical punishment, and speaking the Japanese language, were the first steps to adopting Nippon Seishin. So the Japanese wanted the people to do all this, basically. All right. But the main issue is that were the locals happy with this or not? Were they happy with this? Okay. So make sure you understand background information. Never skip it. Always understand. Read it carefully. All right. Yeah, Kai says no. Correct. You're right. Okay. In source A is quite clear, right? In source A clearly shows, right? Source A clearly shows that they were not supportive. No, they were very unhappy with the Japanese. Right? The locals, the people of Singapore were not happy. Right? Because he's saying that the Japanese would always punch them lah, then make them stand under the sun because they never bow low enough. When you bow, it's not enough just to bow, you must bow until your head touch the ground. Your forehead must touch the ground. That's how low you must bow. Because the lower you bow, the more respect you show. So if you never bow low enough, right, the Japanese will think that you are showing disrespect. So you must kneel down. You must kneel down on the ground, and then you make sure your forehead touch the floor. That's how you bow down to the Japanese. And if you don't do that, you get punched, made to stand in the sun, hold the rock, and all that. So obviously, the person who wrote this, who said this, is not very happy with the Japanese. All right? Okay, understand, students? How about source B? Is the person here happy or not with the Japanese? Yes or no? Are they supportive or not? Huh? They say what the Japanese, what they pass urine anywhere they like. They don't care about people's privacy or respect. Right? They even bathe naked in public. They even go inside the mosque where the Muslims pray. Right? And make the Muslims bow northeast to the emperor. Right? When this is against their religion. Right? So again, the locals were not supportive. Am I right, students? Agree that these people here are not happy also with the Japanese? Same as this one, Korea. Do you agree with me? Korea, they are all not supportive. Am I right? So you immediately, can you see that you already formed a similarity already? Do you all see that, boys and girls? There is a similarity here already. All right. They're both sources. Your basis are now. Remember how to do similarity? First must do basis of comparison. Right not? Basis of comparison. What is your basis? So your basis will be both sources are similar in saying that the locals were not supportive of the Japanese or not supportive of the Japanese, full stop. You all get it so far? Right? You understand so far? That's my basis. What's the next step for similarity? Give evidence. Right not? Evidence from source A and B. So this is evidence in source A. Give me one or two good lines. This is also evidence in source B. Give me one or two lines. Okay, that's all. Then explain the evidence. Okay, this means that the locals, give me something, give me an explanation. Explain the evidence. Explain the evidence in your own words. And there you go. One half of your answer is done already. All right. You can put it here. Understand now, students? And what is this? This is for similarity, right? Because it's quite clear. That's why the basis is very important. Your teacher look at the basis, right? And then see what you're doing. Are you doing similarity or are you doing difference? So in this case, your paragraph very clear. You know you're doing, the teacher will know you're doing similarity here. I will leave this screen sharing on later when you all are doing this question, okay, for you to refer to. Okay, so don't worry, no need to take down now. Now listen only. Okay, now students, right? Must I give a difference now or not? Do I need to give a difference? Once you have given me a similarity, must I give a difference? Must or not? It really depends on your school, but most of the time must give. You must give one paragraph similarity, another paragraph difference. At Sec 2 level, you must give already. Okay, at Sec 2, you need to give. Okay, so you have to start a new paragraph. Start a new paragraph, and then you must rinse and repeat, and then do a difference. Let's try to find out a difference now. What is the reason why source A, the people are unhappy in source A? What is the reason? What is the reason for unhappiness? Source A says the people are unhappy with the Japanese, but why? What is the reason? Kendra, are you there? Kendra, switch on your camera, Kendra. Kendra, come students send me a Zoom chat message. Why were the Japanese unhappy with the people in source A over here? Punches, holding a, just because never bow, right? Then they had to suffer unreasonable, cruel punishment. Right? Unreasonable and cruel, the Japanese. That's why they were unhappy. They had to do all this, and if they never do, they'll get punished to this extent. Do you all agree with me? What about source B? What is the reason for punishment? Or reason for unhappiness? What is the reason for unhappiness here? Okay, now more people answering. Okay, Kendra. Yes, thanks for your answer, Kendra. Okay, Kai Jie also thanks for your answer. Good. Correct. Charlotte answering for source B. Charlotte says the people were unhappy because the Japanese were very disrespectful. How you spell disrespect? Disrespectful. Okay. Can you see that the reasons why the people were unhappy are different here already? That is your difference lah. You can form a difference paragraph using that. The reason for unhappiness is different. One is saying because of the cruel punishment. Another one is because Japanese very disrespectful. Am I right, students? Girls and boys, you all see what I just did there? Because this is what you all have to do in WAs. All right, you have to break it down like that. Think like this. So then, how do I do my basis here? Okay, for difference, both sources, all right, are different in saying the reasons why the people were unhappy with the Japanese. Or maybe I write it better. Both sources are different about okay, the reasons why the people are unhappy with the Japanese. Okay, that's my basis of comparison. So your teacher knows you are doing a difference, and your difference is about why the people are unhappy with the Japanese. Okay, then you break it down. IEE, remember IEE? Difference must do IEE. All right, so source A says people were unhappy because of the cruel punishment. Okay, then you give evidence plus explain. After that, you IE again. Source B, however, source B says people were unhappy because the Japanese were very disrespectful. Then you give evidence plus explain. Okay, no need to do this one because you already done the explanation for each source on top. Okay, like that. Okay. All right, now students. Okay, now. Huh? And that's your difference paragraph. I'm not writing out the whole thing now. I'm expecting you all to do it for me. All right. So I'm going to put it down here, right, together with the. So these are two different paragraphs. I want to see a blank space between the two answers, right? These two separate paragraphs, all right? There must be a blank space, okay?